Welcome to the intriguing world of junkyards, where hidden gems and mountains of abandoned cars await. In this engaging film, we will take you on a journey through labyrinth-like junkyard labyrinths and learn stories of rusting ships and undiscovered treasures. Junkyards, sometimes called rescue yards or junkyards, are like the hidden gems of automobile history. While they act as the final resting place for once beloved cars, they provide a second chance at life through recycling and reuse. Don't forget to watch the entire video to discover the top 10 junkyards in the planet. At a facility at a secure, well-guarded depot in the town of Kharkiv in the Slobozhanskaya area of eastern Ukraine, rows upon rows of more than 400 abandoned tanks are rusting away slowly. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the depot's once thriving tank repair business came to an end, leaving the majority of the tanks there abandoned. The T-64, T-72, and T-80 tanks constructed at the neighboring Malyshev factory in Kharkiv were the focus of the plant's maintenance and modernization work. The T-64, a major battle tank from the Soviet period with composite armor, a small engine and gearbox, and a smoothbore 125mm cannon with an autoloader, was first produced in the 1960s. The T-72 arrived next in the 1970s and ended up being one of the tanks with the highest volume of production in the late 20th century. When it was highlighted in an episode of the Discovery Channel's Fast and Loud in 2014, French Lake Auto Parts was already a well-known auto junkyard close to Minneapolis that housed more than 10,000 automobiles and trucks from the early 1900s to the present. The television show Fast and Loud follows a group of automotive enthusiasts, including Richard Rawlings, Dennis Collins, Tom Smith, and Tony Taylor, who run Gas Monkey Garage and travel the nation in quest of unique vintage vehicles. Skip Nolan, the owner of French Lake Auto Parts, stated, "We've been doing the same thing they are doing, just not on television." "They were astounded by the quantity of things we have," remarked Skip. A scarce 1969 Boss for 29 Mustang was the vehicle the GMG Group was looking for the event, and they paid $125,000 for it. Turner's Auto Wrecking specializes in vintage, antique automobiles, trucks, and components and has vehicles going back to 1928. The home's owner, Jerry Turner, grew up there and has been there since 1932. When he was just 7 years old, his father gave him a Model T for $10, sparking the start of his fascination for automobiles. Jerry began his vehicle wrecking company in 1961, and as it expanded, he bought 5 additional nearby sites. He also bought an airfield in the 1990s, running through the center of his sizable property. According to Hot Rod Network, we released a gallery of images of the 100-acre vintage automobile junkyard at Turner's Auto Wrecking in Fresno, California, and it quickly became one of the most popular sites on hotrod.com ever. More strange pieces are heaped up than you've ever seen in one spot, and people are crazed over it. In a dense Belgian woodland, rows of abandoned automobiles are surrounded by greenery, which has grown up around the rusty and damaged metal. According to one rumor, the collection of damaged and wrecked cars previously belonged to American soldiers serving in Europe during World War II. The soldiers discovered they had no way of getting their cars back home after the conflict was over and they were getting ready to depart. The tiny community of Châtillon offered the ideal location for hiding their vehicles, up a hill and concealed amid the trees until the soldiers could come looking for them. The junkyard is still among the most beautiful in the world, even though the rumor is inaccurate. The airfield was once known as the Army International Airfield during World War II and Walker Air Force Base in subsequent years. It is perhaps most known for the 1947 Roswell, New Mexico, UFO sighting episode. With more than 4,600 acres, The facility was the largest airbase of the Strategic Air Command when it was shut down in 1967. After the base was shut down, the Roswell International Air Center was created. At Roswell, airlines from all over the world, including American Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, United, Air Canada, UPS, Scoot, Polar Air Cargo, and many more, store, repair, and acquire components from the enormous aircraft. At any given moment, the facility may have up to 300 jetliners in storage or undergoing maintenance. According to Tom Vincent, the creator of the Alice Springs Boneyard, if you're going to store an aircraft, the main concern is to make sure it's in an environment that preserves the asset. We're here because of the climate, which is low in humidity and good for maintaining equipment like that. A collection of aeroplanes from different airlines throughout the world are parked on a large area of red soil in the middle of Australia. Mr. Vincent said that the term, aeroplane graveyard, was sometimes used incorrectly to describe the site. Vincent stated, all of the aircraft here are actively maintained and reactivated. One was just transported up to Singapore, while another was scheduled to travel to Europe at year's end. Standing outside the chain-link gate of Pinal Airpark offers a nice view of its more than 100 aircraft in various stages of deterioration. The shining white 747s give it the appearance of being more than just a graveyard. The building, which was constructed during World War II, was allegedly used as the CIA's Air Operations Center during the Vietnam War. If the rumors are accurate, Pinal Airpark was once among the safest and most guarded airfields in the whole globe during one point in its 73-year history. Some aircraft have been there for at least 3 decades, as shown by faded logos on airliner fuselages, aeroplanes without engines, and aircraft with red X taped to their noses. Because a transaction fell through or an aircraft leasing business had no urgent need for them, the factory direct new aeroplanes are being kept. With 31 direct fatalities and an estimated more than 2,000 indirect deaths, the Chernobyl incident stands out as the most disastrous catastrophe in the history of nuclear power generation. Many of the radioactively tainted cars utilized in the cleanup effort and exposed to extremely high radiation levels are still there 32 years after the nuclear catastrophe and are stored in junkyards in the vast exclusion zone surrounding the plant. The largest junkyard, Roswell, which is situated 25 kilometers southwest of the power plant, has rows of automobiles waiting for a solution. The fire engines that went to the power plant the night of the explosion are now contained in enormous ditches, although some are still visible decaying into the earth. The deteriorating artifacts serve as a subtle reminder of the greatest nuclear catastrophe in history. At the conclusion of World War II, Whit Marine Equipment Company welcomed abandoned ships with the intention of disassembling them, selling the rescued scrap metal, and harvesting them for everything of worth. This is when the Staten Island Arthur Kill Boat Junkyard got its start. Boats are currently stranded in the muck and the mire because they piled up quicker than the corporation could separate them. The junkyard, also known as Whit Marine Scrap Yard, the Tugboat Junkyard, and the Donjon Iron and Metal Scrap Processing Facility, is a refuge for scuba divers and has become well known for its tugs and barges. While many ship junkyards across the globe house abandoned ships allowed to rust and decompose, Gujarat, India's largest shipbreaking junkyard, concentrates on dismantling. Nearly 50% of all ships in the world are dismantled under Alang's supervision. Disassembled vessels of all shapes and sizes, such as cargo ships, automobile ferries, massive supertankers, and ocean liners. Seawise Giant, the largest ship ever constructed, was marooned there in 2009 and eventually demolished. At low tide, hundreds of laborers come onto the beach to disassemble each ship and recover everything they can after it has been beached at high tide. The remainder is turned into scrap. According to reports, nearly 6,900 boats have been demolished in Alang over the past 30 years. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this. Don't forget to support the video by like it. Stay tuned for our newest video. Goodbye.